Welcome to the Success Journey Show. Let's travel together through the lives of individuals on the road to success.
Hey, what is going on, travelers? Welcome back to another week of the Success Journey Show, man. We are so excited to be here with you. This is a special show because, as you see, we have another host with us today named Abraham Ddiaz, and he is going to share a little bit about himself. And what we're going to do today is that, Abe is going to pretty much put Marlon and me on the spot, and he's going to ask us some questions and interview us around the topic of leadership and kind of what our thoughts are around that. But before I turn it over to Abe, we'll have Marlon just say a couple words as to where you can find this show. And then we'll turn it over to Abe, and Abe can introduce himself, and then we'll go to the next segment of the show. Go ahead, Marlon.
Hey, what's going on, Journey Squad? Hey, check it out. I know today you see us in suits and you're like, man, what's the occasion, right? But hey, if you're listening to this on your regular app, iTunes, you can find us on the Success Journey Show. That's our channel. If you want to see us, you could definitely come over to YouTube and you'll see us on the Success Journey Show. Now,
you want to see Marlon today. You want to see me
today.
You got the camera.
I'm dressed up today.
Yeah, he has a new camera.
I'm dressed up today. Yes. And I got a new camera. Ricky hooked me up. Ricky been holding me in the dark for a while. He's been trying to hold me down as a star. And he knew I had that garbage web camera. So when I came back off vacation, I had a present at my house. And we'll tell you about that story another time. But I had a present at my house and he sent me a brand new camera. Because he said you've been looking jacked up. So that's where I am. So like I said, you can find us everywhere on any platform, The Success Journey Show, Instagram, Twitter. You can find us, The Success Journey Show, Twitter, success_show. And I want to turn it over to Abe. Abe's going to tell us a little bit about himself. And then we're going to go into this question and answer segment.
Very good. Thank you, Marlon, and thank you, Ricky, for inviting me to your show and being the host today about leadership. Yes, my training, basically, I come from New York City, from Queens. I was in a Queensboro Community College, and then I went to New Jersey to continue my studies as an engineering student. Then I developed some skills, and I was hired at Toyota Motor Engineering. So I went to Kentucky, and I worked for the Japanese for 4.5 years. And in Kentucky, you develop different set of skills because you need to communicate with the Japanese. They don't communicate very well in English, so you need to translate to them in a different setting. Meaning a visual setting was what I learned while working for the Japanese. Is a good leadership skill to have. Having aids in order to communicate the message to other your teammates or your boss, for example. Then I came here to this area, Baltimore and Washington, and I started working for the government. I started working for the Department of Transportation for 10 years with the National Highway Traffic and Safety Administration, which is the agency that regulates the automobile industry. Anything that moves in the United States roads, that is motorcycles, automobiles, 18-wheeler trucks, anything, okay?
Yeah.
Then almost at the tip end of my journey with the government, I came to come to Johns Hopkins Carey Business School, and I met different leaders, including professors, classmates, colleagues, including the dean, among others. And then I developed some leadership skills there. So today, I'm going to interview Ricky and Marlon about leadership, or what leadership styles we need to have in today's society, especially after COVID-19 or during COVID-19, during this pandemic.
Okay.
Yes.
So my first question to either one of you all will be, as a leaders or leaders in the making, what will be the most important values that you see on a person, or traits that a leader should have in order to positively impact the organizations, the societies, or the communities that we live in? What is the most important values or traits that a leader should have?
Yeah, man, that's a really good question. And, it makes you stop and think. And because one thing you said in that question was, now after COVID, right? And a couple of years ago, we could have answered that question a little bit differently. But I think just based off the circumstances that we are currently seeing right now, we have to add these elements of, there's a lot more going on in this world. There's a lot more that's taking place in people's lives. And as a leader, we have to be able to sympathize with that and be able to recognize that it's bigger than just capabilities that people have, but also what are some of the issues that are going on in their lives. And be able to create atmosphere, be flexible and create atmosphere that are conducive to people that have all these different walks of lives right nowadays, right? So now what the pandemic has done has expanded the reach for these organizations to reach people all over the globe to work in your organization. So no longer is it someone that's native to your local area or moving to your local area to work with your organization. Now they could be, halfway around the world, or 3 hours away, 6 hours away. And you have to, as a leader, you have to learn how to be able to adjust to that and be flexible enough so that person feels comfortable enough to be able to perform their best work, right? And I don't know if I can point it down to like maybe one or two things that a leader should possess in terms of a word, but I'm just kind of describing the situation in itself. And that's the first thing that popped in my mind is how relevant are we? How in touch are we with not only the work that needs to be done, but the people that are going to be performing the work with us in our team? So that's kind of how I answer that question. And I can even go a little bit deeper a little bit later, but I'll let Marlon go ahead and share a little bit more.
Okay, yeah. Ricky, you touched the nail on the head. I was thinking the same thing. Disaggregated operations is very important because now, like Ricky said, you have somebody that's in different parts of the world. Before, the boss, if you were, or a leader, if you're in the workplace and everybody came to the workplace, you kind of have, because I'm the leader, they're watching and say, okay, I got to perform, right? But now somebody's at their house, like you say, hundreds of miles away, and now I have to have buy-in. So I think one thing that I would harp on is the buy-in. A leader have to be able to have the buy-in from the subordinates to be able to complete the mission. Because if you don't have that buy-in, then as a team, they're not going to be cohesive and to complete the mission. So I don't want to prolong what Ricky said because Ricky hit the nail on the head, but having the buy-in once you're into those decentralized operations or disaggregated operations, whichever one you want to call it, then you would have to say, okay, I need to be able to have that buy-in. And then you have to have some kind of listening and persuasion and sales within that leadership to able to get that person to have some form of buy-in.
Okay, so basically from the two of you, what I'm getting is Ricky's saying, because everybody is in different parts of the world, we need to have flexibility. That was the main point. Bosses or managers need to have flexibility with their subordinates, okay?
Yes.
And what Marlon is saying is the buy-in, or what I translate or understand is accountability within your subordinates, right? The same thing.
Correct. Yes.
They need to have accountability and they need to have the accountability in place. Yeah. That's very good. That's very good. Now I'm going to answer on my point of view. Leadership, I think one of the most important characteristics for an authentic leader, I wrote it down here so I don't forget about it.
Yeah,
is that we need to listen to the feedback your team is giving you, because they work in different places. They're gonna feed it back to you, and they analyze all their viewpoints, right? From from people in Chicago, maybe somebody in Miami, and they're listening, and you have to listen to all of them in order to perform and in order to get to that milestone stage. Okay, you have to listen to their feedback. Yeah. So that's my my take.
No, that's right on point.
Yeah. So let's go to the next question. So I would also like to add that in today's, well, right now we are living in this remote situation, but when we were in face-to-face dealings as a leader, one of the characteristics that is that you need to have institutional eye for leadership, meaning you have to be able to recognize your top performers and the other people in your team. And you have to be able to have this institutional eye so that you could delegate your activities. If you know who the top performer is, then you'll be able to delegate. This is the guy that's going to do the job. I'm going to hand it to him, and I'm going to give this task to him. And then you give it to the other person, the other task. So can you tell me about an experience or a personal journey that you had where you were part of a team and you were able to figure who was among the team that guy, who was the person that was pushing the envelope? Did you have, bottom line, did you have the institutional eye to be able to recognize that top performer?
Yeah.
Tell us about an experience.
You want to go first this time, Marlon?
Yeah, I'll go first. So I'll tell you, since you asked, Rick,
with friends, even a basketball team, a baseball team, just anything.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about, because so when I was a recruiter, I became a staff NCOIC. That's the person that was in charge of the shop to make sure everybody was recruiting. I'm in the Marine Corps, so they were recruiting. Now I'm going to answer this question two ways, or pose a question back to you to see how you'd handle this. And I was able to see my top performers straight from basic analytics and from stats. Because the top performer, if I say, hey, you have to have 3 people to put into Marine Corps this month, which you're thinking the 3-person, you're like, oh, that's not pretty hard, but it's pretty hard because there's a process to go through. So and we do something we call systematic recruiting. That means we do everything by a process. And there was a guy that one of my guys, he was able to complete this process. The way he interacted with kids, it would be beautiful, because at the end of almost every interview he had with a kid, that kid would be ready to join the Marine Corps. The others, they struggled a little bit. So as a leader, I noticed that. And I did jump on his back a lot, meaning ride him a little bit, because I needed him because of the numbers that we had. So if we had to put in 10 for the month, I had 3 recruiters or whatever, I would be saying, hey, Ddiaz, I need more from you, because these guys are only going to give me 2 apiece. I need 6 from you, right? But after a while, as a leader, I had to also recognize that you could burn that person out and then make him stagnant or not want to produce, because that person feels like, because I'm doing so much, I'm getting tasked the most, and we're all getting the same pay, or we're all have the same position. Why is that? Do I need to move up, and different stuff like that? So as a leader, I did notice that, and it's important that you notice that as a leader, because you have to understand everybody's characteristics or how they operate within that team, and then place everybody where you need them to be. And Ricky, I'm not going to steal the whole thing because it's not a very thin question, so you can go ahead.
Yeah, no, great answer. I my first thing I thought of, Abe, when you said it was, I went back in my day when I was on the football field, and since we look like commentators today, I figured I'll just use that as my
that's very good.
As my example, right? So I remember I was a running back, and when certain plays are called, how many, you're trying to get how many yards you're trying to get the first down or whatever it may be, or the touchdown. And when certain plays are called, the people that are in front of you to block. right? So you understand their capabilities of being able to control the pathway for you to run through and how much effort you have to do on your end in order to accomplish a task of getting yardage, right? And when you start looking at the situation that you're in, you call a play based off of, not only to get through the situation that you're in. You can be third and 6, 3rd and 10, 2 and 5, whatever it is. But you also call it based off of who's on the field at the time and who can get the job done, right? So there will be times where, a play is called, by the coach, and you as, one of the captains and you're a running back, you know when the plays get ready to go, kind of what effort you're gonna have to put out, right? If I go to the left, I may have to, fight off a few more people. If I go to the right, I may not have to do as much. Or if I'm a lead blocker, I know that, okay, well, I can almost for sure say that someone's going to get through the line on the left side. So I need to be ready to block versus the right side, maybe a little bit stronger. And I say all of that to say is just kind of understanding that the dynamics of your team, the strengths and the weaknesses on whatever side that you're on. And I wouldn't say weaknesses in the sense that there's a weak link, but more so their strength may be in a different capacity, right? So as a leader, understanding who's in the right position at the right time in order to accomplish or overcome the ball positioning, I would say, right, at that time, right? I need to get a first down. So if I need to get a first down, hey, I need you three in the game on the line because I know you're going to block in a certain way. I need to throw for a touchdown, so I need to make sure these two wide receivers are on the field. So I know they're going to be able to get open, right? So all of those different things, and going back to your question of, has there been a time where, you try to really just understanding your team and knowing, who works here and who works there. It's like that all built up into my professional career as in, okay, you have a project at hand and the project needs to get done. Okay, I know who I need to email a little bit more in order to get something done. I know who I need to go by their desk a little bit more or less, or give us a little bit information and let them just be on their way and do their thing, versus others where I may have to walk a paper to their desk to get it signed versus just shooting them an email. All those different situations, because you have that goal in mind to get that project done. I think it's very key to have that awareness of the team that you have around you and how you can operate in order to make sure that the overall goal is achieved.
Very good, Ricky. I agree with you. Portraying sports behaviors, having that institutional eye within the sports can translate into the office, just like you said, and be able to recognize the entire team.
Yes.
It's very important. It's the same thing. So a sports ability has different gaming, but it's the same principles that you can apply it into the office, like you have said.
Yes.
And Marlon was right too. Okay, he was able to know who was the top performer, and he didn't want to burn out his top performer, so he knew how to delegate, or he knows how to delegate to others so that he doesn't burn his top performer. Now I'm going to speak on my personal experience that was recent. We were a team of 5 in the group. We were given a task of presenting on how to fix Amazon. Could you believe? Amazon is having problems at their headquarters, and we needed to present. So we were given 1 week. 8 weeks, but we needed to define who was the leader of the team. And we needed only 1 week to define who was the leader. So they gave us, different readings from Amazon's, and we need to write many things. So I had to read every single team member's thoughts and input. And then I had to figure out who had the ability to lead the team to the finish line. Mm-hmm. And to tell you the truth, there were 2 males and 3 females, including myself. And between that group of members, one female I had determined that was the leader and had what it takes to lead the Amazon effort. So it was very good. So I had only 1 week to do that. So that's called institutional eye for leadership, recognizing who is the leader. If you are able to recognize your team members, you are a leader yourselves. Okay, that's important.
Yeah.
Okay, and this book that I'm going to share with you is called Authentic Leadership. It was written by Bill. He was the CEO of Medtronic. You know, is a medical device company, one of the leading medical device companies here. He said the following. He said the following that is the most important in the whole book. He said, we need authentic leaders and people of the highest integrity committed to building enduring organizations and communities. We need leaders who have a deep sense of purpose and are true to their core values. So you need to be true to your true values, you know. We need leaders with the courage to build their companies. In this case, it also applies to communities, families, and cities, to meet the needs of all the stakeholders, or in this case, investors. And the most important prevalent phrase here is leaders who recognize the importance of their service to society will succeed. So this is very important. We need to recognize our service to the community, to society. And I said this because I'm going to speak about Baltimore now. You know, Baltimore has been a city where it's always high crime, you know. The infrastructure system, they're fixing it. For the past 10 years, I've seen different projects that are taking place in Baltimore that are changing the city little by little. You know, a small project infrastructure little by little. Yeah. So I know Mayor Brandon is taking and he is leading many efforts. And there has been a whole lot of construction around Baltimore. So here it is. Do we have leaders today within, you know, that represent the city of Baltimore that have this courage? Do we believe that, do they have this service to society? Are they embedded within their values to have, you know, the service to the city of Baltimore? Let's change Baltimore for good, you know?
Yes. You know, I want to talk about, so I'm gonna let Ricky has more ties to Baltimore than I do. So okay. When it comes to leaders, I know he probably knows way more leaders than I do because he's very been embedded with the community, nonprofit, all that stuff, and he'll go through that. However, what I want to talk about, so we're on the Success Journey Show. And on the Success Journey Show, we have our core values. Our core values says dream, drive, discipline, and diligence. Very good. If you have those four things, what we're saying in any facet of life, you can succeed. However, what we wanted to do was wanted to show people that we wanted to invest in some places that people would say, listen, that's not a good place to go to, or whatever the situation. So what we have done, we said we wanted to bring a different kind of vantage point or view to Baltimore. So we bought a housing, a house, one of the row houses. And what we have done is we have gone in there and we're refurbishing it so we can rent it out to the people of Baltimore, trying to gentrify or help the gentrification process by buying a house and fix it up. So we're not trying to push out the people that are there. We're trying to make it affordable for the people that are there. And it's because of our core values, just like you mentioned in that book, where he said if people don't stay true to their core values and actually give back. A lot of people, if you always take from a tree or you take from somewhere a jar of money, if you always take from the jar of money and never put back, there at one point is going to get empty. So what we're trying to do is give back to the community by just letting other people know. And now we have an idea, a long-term idea, to show other people that have lived in Baltimore how they can effectively do what we're doing. So we want to be service to the community and at the same time be true to our values of our show, the Success Journey Show, Dream, Drive, Discipline, and Diligence.
Yeah.
Very.
Yeah, Marlon, no, that's great. I'm glad you said that. And hey, man, you're trying to put me on the spot to be a bad leader in Baltimore, man. You know, what is this? No, I'm joking.
Baltimore. You don't have to speak about leaders.
I know what you mean. No, I was messing with you.
You know, you don't
I'm just messing with you.
But speak about something that is happening in Baltimore that resembles leadership.
Yeah.
In the city of Baltimore, that resembles leadership, you know?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Now I was just messing with you. There is, when I drove into Baltimore I have family that lives in Baltimore, from Baltimore. But I moved back into the area a few years ago. And when I was driving around, I was like, man, how can I help make change in this city as I'm seeing change is starting to take place? How can I help with that effort? And I was fortunate enough to be surrounded with amazing individuals that have a heart for growth, have a heart to give back to the community, have a heart to give their resources and their talents and their time for the rebuilding of this city and a further nurturing of this city. I'll go from people that are going into schools and speaking to the K through 12 students about different pathways that they can do in education, from individuals that are feeding the homeless and providing programming around them, from corporate individuals that are leading teams and efforts to try to use their leverage their position in order to create jobs and create opportunities for people in the city of Baltimore, to building structures that will inevitably attract more people to Baltimore and provide more opportunities for its residents. You know, and this can't happen without being behind great leadership. To construct and develop a program, to construct and put together a building, to put together efforts in order to service startups that are being birthed in the area, that are here to help support their communities specifically. You know, that takes all great effort and great leadership. So I would say I have been blessed to meet these individuals, work with these individuals alongside these individuals, and contribute at whatever level I could contribute to the furthering of the growth of this great city. I mean, Baltimore is great to its bones, and I believe that, you know, a lot of leaders see that what they're trying to do now is addressing a problem that has been around for many generations, and it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to happen with consistency. It's going to happen with dedication, having that dream that one day the city would be where you want it to be, that drive in order to get it there, that discipline and diligence to put into place all of these actions and pull all these different organizations together to make it happen in order to realize, you know, the full potential of what Baltimore was and it could be.
Yes, very good, Ricky. Thank you so much.
Abe,
yes, Marlon.
Before you go on, I want to plug something, and I don't want to miss it. Ricky and I, this show has been 3 years, and we truly want to give back, and we have some stuff that we sell. We have merch that we sell and stuff like that. And this year, because of some of the merch that we have sold, what we've ended up doing, we started up, this year would be the first of a continuing, we're doing a scholarship to the Hartford Community College, right? And this year we'd be giving 2 seniors going into college next year scholarship to that college. So those are some of the things that we see that is necessary to help, and it's only because of but Ricky opened my eyes to Baltimore, because like I said, I'm not a native of Baltimore. I've only lived, I'm here in DC, But because of Ricky's connection to Baltimore and some of the things that he have done and what he expressed to me, that I really have a understanding of what we can do and what we continue to do for that city.
That was very good, Marlon, that you said, because what I was going to comment is that education is very important. And what you're doing, giving the scholarships to Hartford Community College graduates in order for them to complete their studies, is very important. Because in order to change the city of Baltimore and transform it, it's going to take, like Ricky was saying, it's not going to be just day by day. It's going to take some years. But the two main components and formulas that we need to work on is, number one, education.
Mm-hmm.
And not like graduate level education. No, education for the elementary school and high school. We need to grasp those roots and foster education within those youth, with teenagers of the city of Baltimore. Number one is education. And the number two is the infrastructure, the infrastructure of the city, the roads, the bridges,
transportation,
all of that. Transportation is very important because the kids need to go to their school, and there needs to be well-established transportation. And it comes in a good point because there has been, by the Biden administration, they approved $17 billion in
today, yeah.
Right. And some of that is going to go to the city of Baltimore. The Secretary of Transportation, actually, I don't know if you noticed, he came to the city of Baltimore, I think, in July.
Oh, wow.
Yes, the Secretary of Transportation, Pete Buttigieg, he came to the city of Baltimore to promote the infrastructure bill that the Democrats were passing by, So I believe a great chunk of money is going to go to the city of Baltimore in order for that effort, Because if we have money for the infrastructure, for bridges and roads, then the mayor city office is able to take their budget, and instead of spending it in infrastructure, they can spend it in education, in the schools, put that money to work in the education system. So that's very good. Yeah. Let's see, what is the other question that I have here? Are there, the other question that I have, and I think this is the last one, so we can improvise after that. Mm-hmm. Are there any leaders that you don't necessarily have to follow this leader, but are there any leaders that you emulate or that you want to become aligned with their leadership style? And I'm going to start answering this question myself, okay? So are there any leaders that you want to emulate or that you want to assimilate the leadership style? And I want to start by me.
Thank you for listening to the Success Journey Show. Please follow us on our social media on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook at The Success Journey Show. Also, check out our website at thesuccessjourneyshow.com. Thank you for listening and enjoy the rest of the show.
I started in a community college. I met a professor called Robert Talamo. Robert Talamo was a retiree from the Bureau of, I think it was the CIA of the FBI. I can't remember. And he said the following during class. This was one of the first classes, okay? He said the following. In life, if you replace the word problem for challenge, everything changes. You like replace the problem for challenge in any situation, he said that everything would change. And it was true, Ricky. It was true, Marlon, because I carried that along my entire life. And every time I saw a problem, in my brain, I saw it was a challenge. This is a challenge. And being a guy that was playing, swimming, playing basketball in New York City, a challenge to me was like a play game. Hey, this is a challenge. This is a game. So to me, it was a motivation for me to finalize the problem or finalize the challenge. So I took that from him, Talamo. At the time when I met him, he was like 75 years old, okay? Then here at Johns Hopkins, I met another person. His name is Bernard Ferrari. He's the dean of the school, and this is the book that he wrote. Okay, what I took from him, the book name is Power Listening. It's a little bit about business, but he said that the best leadership that someone has to have is the power of listening. Mm-hmm. So if you are able to listen very good, then you become very powerful. And when he said listening, I read the book, and listening is more than just listening the words of the person. Listening requires, first is listening the voice of the person. The second skill is that you listen to the body movements of the person, or the facial movement, The third thing is the tone of voice of that person. Everything, and if you put that together, everything, that's listening to a person. Looking at the body movement, looking at the facial expressions, looking at the tone of voice, and then lastly, the message that they want to communicate. If you're able to master this to any person, you will be able to, you will be able to become a more effective leader. Mm-hmm. Because you have to listen to your children, and you have to listen to your wife, and you have to listen to your boss. Yeah. So developing a listening is very good. Yeah. So Bernard Ferrari. And my last leader was here in the Department of Transportation was Mark Roskin. So Mark Roskin was the head of the agency at the National Highway Federal Administration. Well, his leadership style was that he was a very good orator. My English is my second language. I mean, I've been living here 25 years, but he could speak in a way that was very, inspiring. He used a very good tone of voice, and he was direct. Like he would go to the point, he would summarize it, and he was very good at it. So I'll become a good listener, a good orator, and always have my challenges. Those are the three leadership characteristics that I take from my three leaders that I have met in my life. Okay. So whoever wants to take it first.
Yeah. Go ahead. Oh man, I couldn't give you, I don't have a list of names of leaders, but what I have done is, every leader that I have met or have the opportunity to work with, I pull something from them, right? So I'm always analyzing leaders and their leadership styles. From one leader, like you have done and identified the three different things from three different people, I do the same exact thing and I adapt that through my life. So if I go to the beginning of my career in working as an engineer, one of the managing principals, that took me under the wing, I learned something from him. And then you go to the next career and you have another owner there, you're looking and watching how they communicate with people, how they develop proposals, how they communicate with clients, how they communicate with our colleagues, and you pull something from them. And it goes on and on. And by the time as you're growing, you are morphing into, for me, I'm morphing into these things that I'm seeing and these attributes, these positive attributes from these individuals. So I'm not, so what I'm doing is I'm not taking exactly and say, I'm going to mimic exactly what you do. I'm going to show up at the same time you show up. I'm going to, wear the same clothes you wear. I'm going to drink the same coffee you drink, but I'm going to watch and take those particular things that really speak to me, and I'm going to take that and add that to what I do, even down to an email, how you construct an email, to the simplest things. Like you start taking bits and pieces of it. And the next thing you know, you are this person that is a mixture of all the great experiences that you have been a witness to and the great leaders that you have been a witness to. And you're constantly in that mode of growing and learning from others. So that's how I would answer that one.
Very good, Ricky. Very good.
Yes. Man, I'm telling you, you guys, they say you guys just expounded on everything and it was beautiful. And I'm in my head, I'm like, okay, he took that point. I love what you said about listening. today I was in a class, and I love that you talked about listening, because we were talking about listening, and they're talking about sometimes you have to listen to answer a question, sometimes you have to listen to problem solve, and sometimes you just have to know how to listen just to listen. And that's beautiful that what you talk about being listening, because that does make you a better leader. Firm and fear. I'd like to talk about firm and fear. You know, when I first joined the Marine Corps, I was a young man that was coming from New York. And, you know, if you're coming from New York, you have a kind of a attitude, or we call it the swag, however you want to put it to make yourself feel better, right? So when I got the, yeah, attitude or swag, however you want to say it to make yourself feel better. But when I first got to boot camp, I was like, man, these guys here, I can tell you, Charles Walker, you have Master, oh man, I forgot his name, but I'll come back. He's gonna kill me if you ever watch this. But those guys, they were my drill instructors, the Tasca, and those guys, they were,
they could do anything.
Put it on us. They put it on us. They made you sweat, right? But that was their job, to do that in boot camp. So as a leader, because they're in that position, I was like, man, I really like how these guys, even though at the time my swag had to be adjusted, right? They did it in the right way. However, one of them right now is one of my good friends. And, you know, when I see him now in a different light, that he's not in this setting that he has to teach you how to become a Marine, now he's on the other aspect. So now he's firm in fear. And I could talk to him about certain things that I'm going through in the Marine Corps, and he could answer those and give me some feedback, you know? And then I look outside, you know, we have a friend named Donovan Genus. And Donovan was one of those guys that when we were younger, we looked up to him because of his style of leadership. He was not the person that he was judgmental. He will tell you when you mess up, but he'll also give you some love. And he was willing to go the mile with you. If you live half an hour away and he lived only a minute from the basketball court, but you wanted to play basketball with him, he would drive down to where you are to drive you back just to play basketball. He'll always try to involve and find people that were not accepted in the crowd to bring into the fold, to let them feel that normalcy of what it is to have a family. So those guys, to me, I could even go to Ricky's father. I don't want to even, Ricky's father, Brother Ventures, he showed, when I saw a family setting, I saw Brother Ventures and Ricky Ventures Sr. He showed us how to be a family setting. I slept many a nights at Ricky's house in New York. That was my actual home. I had my apartment, and all I did was pay for it because I slept mostly over their house. He should have put me on his W-2 actually. But those guys, to me, growing up through the different stages of life, I've taken those things away, put it in my toolbox, and implement those to become the leader that I am today, and still growing and listening in order to be an effective leader.
Very good.
Yeah, that was good, Marlon. The way that was good, man.
That was good.
Thanks. That was really good. This is good. This is really
this
good.
Is good. This is good.
This was a good talk show today, guys. I have to tell you. You know,
did you know the DOT? You were with the DOT, you said, right?
Yeah, I worked for the DOT for 10 years. Now I have my own business part. I'm an investor now in the New York Stock Exchange.
Oh wow!
Yeah, because I'm almost graduating. So this last year, I will graduate in May. So I said I'm gonna quit, and this last year I'm just gonna do investments in the New York Stock Exchange. So as I've been doing that, and I've been taking the final classes for my graduation. You know.
Can we talk about you the stock exchange? I know we talk about the leadership and everything, but I think the stock exchange is a very important subject because a lot of people don't understand it. I think a lot of people are dabbling in it and they don't really understand it. They're just dabbling.
So
break it down for us.
Yeah, I could talk about it. So So the old school of the stock exchange, TD Ameritrade trade, that's all gone. Now these guys jumped in. I don't know if you have heard about something called Robinhood, right?
Yes.
Robinhood is a new platform that you could have in your cell phone, and you could even put $500, and any investments that you make, they don't take any percentage. Correct. So it's how do you say? There's no they don't take any. So if you put $500, you invest $500.
$500, yeah.
Okay. So that's good. They call it in the Wall Street Journal the new Wall Street, because they're not taking any money from you. Now, in order to invest in the stock market, basically there's 4 things going on right now. You have the stocks, your regular stocks if you're a beginner investor. Then you have options. Options are a little bit different. Options are like derivatives. In options, basically you take a stock and you say, I'm going to invest here, but this stock I think is going to go up. So you invest that stock because you think it's going to go up. And you say, I'm going to invest 3 weeks and I think it's going to go up by $5. You said that. So whatever the premium is, so if you invest, let's say this stock is $10. And if you invest and you're saying, no, this stock is going to go up by $15, you gain that $5 premium. Okay. That's an option. And this call. Yeah. Then the other way around happens too. You can invest in a put, meaning you invest $10 in this stock, but you think that the stock is going to go down. So it's going to go down by $5 per se. So you bet your money, the $100 or $500, that this stock is going to go down. And you gain money because you invested that the stock was going to go down. Now, that's an option. There's another investing strategy. Is called, what is it called? It's called put. It's called stradders. Stradders are options that go both ways, but I haven't figured it out yet. Meaning that you put an option, but it can go both ways. The stock can go or down,
And you still make money. Oh, wow.
You still make money. I don't know how they do it. You still make money.
I never heard of that one.
That's called a straddle. And then the new thing that is happening nowadays is the ETFs. The ETF. I invest in, emerging markets ETFs. So I invested in emerging markets, like the Philippines, Poland, or Greece, in third world countries that you think their economies is not too weak, but it's not too strong. You think that they're like in the middle. So I invested in economies that are considered to be emerging markets. I have like 5 ETFs in emerging markets, okay? And then the new thing is the cryptocurrency. I have 0 investments in cryptocurrency currently. And I can explain this. Cryptocurrency is so new, maybe 5 or 7 years, that the fluctuation is very high. It goes up like 500%, it goes down 500%. So that is called having a high volatility, very, very volatile, meaning it's very risky. So the same way you can win money in a cryptocurrency, you can lose the whole thing in a cryptocurrency. So right now, the people that are invested in cryptocurrency, to tell you the truth, in my opinion, are the people that have a whole lot of money that can afford to lose a whole lot of money. That's why I haven't invested in. But I'm waiting on this key thing. The federal government of the United States is trying to design a cryptocurrency that is based with the federal government, okay? A cryptocurrency from the federal government, because they want to compete with international cryptocurrencies like the Chinese or the Europeans. But because there's high volatility, meaning it's very risky, so they want to reduce that risky factor. And in order to reduce that risky factor, it has to come from the federal government, because the federal government is a very stable institution. If you look at the bonds, of the federal governments, those are the safest investment. But because they're very safe, their volatility is very low. Like they don't go up really high or go down too much. They're very stable. So they stay stable. It's very steady. That's why they want to go with cryptocurrency with the federal government to give a stability to the cryptocurrency. Once they do that, I don't know when they're going to do it. I've been reading the newspaper. But once they do it, I'm going to put some money on the government cryptocurrency. Okay, I'm going to put a whole lot of money on the cryptocurrency of the federal government only. So that's my take.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I like it. I dabble in stocks. I think I dabble in stocks more so to keep myself abreast on what's going on because I think I know if you dabble in stocks, you usually current events, you have to watch it a lot, right? Because current events affect how your stock goes up or down. Yeah. Case in point, the bond, when America just bought all the bonds and stuff like that, it fluctuates. It helps it to fluctuate or give more strength to the economy. So I watch it. I dabble in it. I do buy some cryptocurrency, and
He's loaded. He's loaded, Abe. He's loaded.
Oh, the currency. Oh, wow.
So I know some guys that pulled me aside and said, "Hey, don't say anything," and they showed me their account. But just like you said, I think a lot of people are trying to jump on it, but those guys started from so they put like probably their $10 that they put in now, even though it's fluctuate that 5 go up, go down, they invested at the ground level so much that right now they're up like that $10 turned to 100,000. So even if they lose, I'm just giving a number. Even if they lose 10,000, they're still up because all they invested was either $10 or $100. So they did it early. But wow, yeah, we definitely have to get you back on the show one time to talk about that, because if you're saying that's your main source of income now, that's a beautiful thing. I mean, you have to be reading and doing a lot, man. Or are you a Warren Buffett that you buy and hold?
I sign up for the Wall Street Journal. Like you said, it has a lot to do with speculations, okay? I sign up for Wall Street Journal and I sign up for the New York Times. Not so much of the New York Times, but more of the Wall Street Journal. So this Robinhood app is the only base company that has pre-IPO, initial public offering, when a company is becoming public. So you get the stock at a very low value, initial value, even before the company becomes public. Yes. They give you messages and they say, hey, this company is going to go public, invest in this company. And they give you articles and you read the articles. So that's very good. I'm waiting on a company that is called Perfect Day. Write it down. It's called Perfect Day. Perfect Day. This company...
Make me go buy stocks right now.
This company developed, I don't know how they did it, but they developed milk, milk protein, real protein using plant-based protein. So they milk. So it's not cow milk anymore. It's just regular plant-based milk, and it has the same nutrients, okay? And it's called Perfect Day. I think, in my opinion, they have a very powerful formula in their headquarters. So this company, whatever they did, they're gonna go up. So no matter what. So the article came about 3 weeks ago that the company is planning to go public. So I'm waiting on Robinhood to tell me, hey, this Perfect Day is gonna go public. So you better invest now. So I'm gonna put a whole lot of chips in this company, to tell you the truth. Maybe 50% of my portfolio is gonna go to
Wow. That's confidence.
Yes, Perfect Day is called the company. Another company, but this one is a long way from the IPO. It's called Zeus. Zeus, Z-O-O-X, okay? Zeus is a company that is developing the latest, most advanced technologies in autonomous driving.
Oh, man.
Autonomous driving. They're more advanced than any other company, okay? And they're based in California. They are making a vehicle, and this vehicle doesn't have a steering wheel. It doesn't have a brake. It doesn't have a shift. It doesn't have an accelerator. It doesn't have nothing. It's just an automobile, and it's being guided by your cell phone, okay? These people, they're going to launch the vehicles as taxis in San Francisco. They already launched the vehicles. They're driving all the way to San Francisco, okay? They're driving. But they are as a taxi crew. The CEO is a Black African girl. I forget her name. She was born in Ghana, but she's been raised here in the U.S. It's a female Black CEO, the CEO of this company. I don't know when they're going to go public, but I'm going to put the chips that I put in Perfect Day, I'm going to take them out and put them in.
Wow.
Bro, that's Zeus. What other companies do I have in my radar? Let me see.
Any EVs?
Huh?
Any electronic vehicles? I know they're autonomous, but any
these Zeus vehicles are EVs.
Oh, okay. So that's going to be all in one. Okay. So they're not just performing the autonomous; they're out actually making the vehicle.
They're EVs. They're EV vehicles.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me see. There's now, because I'm from Johns Hopkins, you know, I've been doing the Carey Business School for 5 years there. There's a lot of investment because of COVID, you know. It triggered a whole lot of investment in the healthcare division.
Yeah.
So I've been in meetings at Johns Hopkins, and a whole lot of very powerful people are putting money in healthcare, including, you know, medical devices, telemedicine, you know, because people don't want to go to the doctor anymore. People want to go telemedicine.
Digital health.
And is something they're going to. Medical devices, what else? Therapeutics.
Okay.
So
therapeutics,
therapeutics. They are putting a whole lot of money, so much that in 2019, Michael Bloomberg donated $150 million for scholarships for STEM students that go to Hopkins, but these STEM students are from underrepresented communities, meaning either doesn't have the financials, you know, either Hispanic, Asian, African American, or white, somebody that has economic hardships.
Yeah.
Then he donated $150 million for the Johns Hopkins to go for this. He also donated $1.8 billion.
Yes.
For students underrepresented in minorities, whatever, that want to go to Johns Hopkins. Okay. About, I don't remember, this was before COVID, in the medical, what is it called? Maryland University Hospital. Okay. They spent $70 million because they were going to open a facility in Baltimore for medical devices. Okay. I forget the name of the person, but this is a person who made a whole lot of money doing medical devices, and he's a graduate of Maryland University, and he donated $70 million to build an infrastructure building in Maryland University in Baltimore dedicated for medical devices. Also, Maryland University 4 years ago bought a hospital in Prince John's Hospital, I think it was, in George, Maryland. They bought the hospital and Maryland University basically is expanding its territory, So I've seen it because I'm in the medical industry. I've seen a whole lot of financial, fluctuations, the inputs into the medicine sciences, And that's why I started. In reality, I started a startup, but you have to have connections if you want money to come to you. So I've been developing my connections, and you two became my connections today as well.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Hey,
sir.
I'm going to tell everybody out there, all our people listening, if you went ahead and you bought Perfect Day and Zuex and you make some money, you have to donate 5% to any foundation of our choosing, because we just gave you, or Abe just gave you some free information to make you be able to buy these stocks.
There you go. Let the people make some money.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I love it.
Yes, sir.
Well, man, Abe, this has been amazing. Really appreciate, I'm glad we were able to connect like this. And I know it's not going to be the last time that we connect. And I appreciate you taking time and just, choosing us to, interview about this leadership and getting our thoughts on there. And then also sharing a little bit about what you're doing in your life and how you're making an impact. And, we wish you the best as you're wrapping up your years at Carey Business School. And we know that, like I said, we will be in touch with you soon. And to all of our people, all the people listening to this interview, this episode, we just want you to we hope this was a refreshing episode to where, one, you get to hear a little bit more about our thoughts, Marlon, ourselves, but then also learn a little bit more about our good friend here, Abe Ddiaz. And just be ready, guys. We're ready. We're willing. We're connecting with a lot of people, a lot of great people. Abe is one of them, and we want to connect with many more. So if you know anyone else that we should interview, please reach out to us. Let us know who wants to interview us. Please reach out to us. And again, we want to say a special thank you to Abe for coming on and sharing with us and talking with us and being our host for today. But until next time, everyone, we hope you have a good week. And everyone, take it easy. Bye-bye.
Take it easy. Take it easy.
You've been listening to The Success Journey Show, where your dreams, drive, determination, and diligence are the foundation to success. For more information, check out thesuccessjourneyshow.com. The Journey Squad is here helping you to your destination.